Today we will discuss sloka number 5. But before that, I need an explanation of why that fifth sloka has been introduced. Some introduction of fifth sloka. Some doubts we will raise and we will solve. So when we say that knowledge will remove ignorance, then the natural question comes how? So what is ignorance? Ignorance is nothing but a thought, vritti. So how that ignorance thought will go, that thought will go by another thought. So knowledge remains in the form of thought. Ignorance of a pot will be removed by knowledge of the pot. And knowledge of the pot will come by the thought of the pot. If I tell that lion is flying in the room, we know the sentence is correct grammatically, but the statement is wrong. It is not the statement of fact. This is a wrong statement. So, because logic is absurd over there, logic is not there. Unless each word is not produce clear knowledge, so right knowledge will not take place. And this should not be contradictory knowledge. So 4 factors should be there. So syntactically it has to be corrected, or it has to be correct. Logically it has to be correct, number 2. Number 3, every terms and terminologies should be clear. And there should not be any contradiction with other means of knowledge. 4 is complete. Means in that thought there should not be any opposite idea. If I want to know about the pot, that pot thought is required. Ghatakara vritti is required to know the ghatam. Likewise, the thought, I am infinite, I am Brahman, that thought is required to know Atma is Brahma, is infinite. Then only the Aham Brahmasmi will come out from inside. If teacher says Tattvamasi, you are that, the understanding of the student is Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman, infinite Brahman. I am infinite, I am unlimited, I am unconditional, aparichinna. To gain this knowledge, a thought is required. Actually, thought is required to remove ignorance. Where the thought resides in antahkarana, in the inner instrument. So, to gain the knowledge, we have to retain our mind and intellect. Mind and intellect should not be negated at the first step, because a thought is required to gain any knowledge, and thought remains in mind. Or if we say what is mind, mind is nothing but the thought. Intellect is nothing but the thought. Vritti jnanam is jnanam. Okay. And that thought is called Brahmakara Vritti, which will Brahmakara Vritti means the thought in the form of Brahman. I will come in that point. I don't know where the question is asked in your inner self, that how the thought will be in the shape of Brahman. I will come into that point. So the thing is, there is an objection. What objection? So before ignorance, before removal of ignorance, Atma was self-effulgent or not? Of course. The answer is of course. Atma is ever self-effulgent, Swayam Prakasha. But how? In the form of consciousness. So what is the requirement of knowledge? Because it has a notion that I am finite. That is why the knowledge of Atma or Brahman is required. So how does Atma experience itself in us? The answer is because it is consciousness in nature. Through our consciousness, Atma is always revealing. It is Swayam Prakasha. For its effulgence, not any external support or external effulgence is needed to express Atma. Now the question is, what is that consciousness? That is, I am, I am, I am. Even when we are under the spell of the darkness of ignorance, I'm very much concerned about my existence. Aham, 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 aham. But in what form it is there? I am a boy. I am a girl. I am enjoying. I am hungry. But here the main substance is I am, I am, I am. And that I am is infinite. Seeing is finite. Eating is finite. My name and form is finite. And the problem is, I associated with them and think that I am an Atma. And I am Anatma and connected with Atma. That is our understanding. Knowledge just remove that wrong notion. That is the job of the knowledge. Atma is never under the spell of finitude. But the notion, the false notion about Atma is finitude. Knowledge only remove this notion. So yesterday's sloka was there, Megha Paye Amshumaniva. Amshu means rays. Angshuman is who is having rays, means sun. Like Hanu. Hanu means jaws. Hanuman means who is having jaw, means everyone is Hanuman. But who is having a big jaw and something else, we called Hanumanji. Okay. So, and Megha. So, Meg is cloud. So cloud comes in front of the sun. We think. But when the clouds are removed, the sun shines. And we thought there is a wrong notion that clouds covered the sun, which cannot be. Cloud only cover our eyesight. Upaya means going away. So one is drishtanta. Drishtanta is example. Another is darstanta. Darstanta is which is illustrated. So the thought of I am Brahman, that is Brahmakara Vritti. I am Brahman, and that vritti has to take place to remove the ignorance. Sun is always there. So what is sorrow? What is the problem in my life? The problem is when my infinitude is not known by me. Sorrow cannot touch me when my infinitude is revealed by myself. And this is called yoga. The moment I can understand that I am infinite, I am complete, every problem is solved. Who gives trouble to you? Your mind only. Not a single event, not a single person trouble you. Please believe that. Only your mind gives you trouble. So Guru told, Shastra told, that to remove ajnanam or ignorance, brahmakara vritti is required. Atma is in the form of knowledge, in the nature of knowledge. And he is telling that a thought is required to gain this knowledge. Now the question is, that is Dvaita. Then where is Advaita? Because the thought is retaining now. Thought means apart from Atma, there is second element is there, that Brahmakara Vritti, the thought of Brahman. That is the question of a student, that where is Advaita? Because to gain knowledge, Brahmakara Vritti is required. So Vritti will be there, thought will be there along with the Atma. For that, Bhagavan has written fifth sloka. What is that? Ajnanam kalusham jivam jnanavyasad vinirmalam kritva jnanam svayam nasyet jalam katakarenuvat. Once more. Ajnana kalusham jivam jnanabhyasad vinirmalam kritva jnanam swayam nasyet jalam katakarenuvat. So, if you want, you can write the prose order of that sloka. Jnanam, ajnanam kalusham jivam jnanabhyasat nirmalam kritva jalam nirmalam kritva katakarenuvat swayam hinashet. Jnanam, ajnanam kalusham jivam jnanabhyasat nirmalam kritva jalam nirmalam kritva katakarenuvat swayam hinashet. That jalam nirmalam kritva I have added. It is not there, only one is there. Otherwise the prose meaning will not come. So what is that meaning? Okay. So word for word meaning, Ajnanam Kalusham. defiled by ignorance. Jivam. What is Jivam? The egocentric self. Jnanabhyasat. By constant practice of self-knowledge. Vinirmalam. Pure. Kritva. Having done or having made. Jnanam. Self-knowledge. Swayam. Itself. Nashet. Disappears. Jalam is water. Kataka renuvat as the powder of kataka knot. So what's the meaning in English? So constant practice of self-knowledge purifies the egocentric self, which is defiled by ignorance, and having bestowed self-knowledge, it itself disappears just as the powder of kataka knot. Nowadays we used to use alum. Settles down after it has cleaned the muddy water. So in this verse, an individual is defined as the self that has been defiled by ignorance. Spiritual ignorance gives rise to the agitations of the intellect and the blabbering of the mind. The mind-intellect equipment reflects the light of the consciousness, and the self, thus conditioned by the mind and intellect, is the individual jiva. Clear? So when the Atma or self is conditioned by mind and intellect, we call it individual jiva. The one suffering the limitations of matter is this ego, which is comparable with our own reflections that we see in mirror. It is but natural that we look distorted if the reflecting surfaces are concave or convex. Clear? So the ugliness of our reflections can end only when the reflecting surfaces are either destroyed or straightened. Similarly, the perversions of the individual can be ended when the mind-intellect equipment has become steady and clean. An absolutely clean and steadied mind is no more a mind. Since mind is but a thought flow, where the mind has ended, there the ego center, perceived so long, the existing as the sense of individuality rebounds to its original nature of the self. The quietude of the mind and the ultimate sublimation, not suppression, ultimate sublimation of all its thought currents is a single process accomplished by meditation, which is called jnana-abhyasa. The process of negating our identification with the false matter in envelopments and asserting our divine spiritual nature constitutes the art of meditation, and this process is explained exhaustively in the in these verses, that flow in this very textbook, Atmabodh. If the continuous memory of I am the matter, I am the matter, I am the matter is the ego center, no doubt there is that it can be replaced by another constant thought current that I am that infinite self, I am that infinite self, I am that infinite self. Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. Though it is not japa mantra, it is not the mantra which has to be repeated. It is a correct understanding after sublimation. However, even that is a continuous thought flow, and therefore even that experience, that is called vritti jnanam, the knowledge in the form of thought, is only a conditioned and finite one which cannot be absolute. This is the doubt. So this doubt is answered in the verse, in this verse under discussion, where it is said that meditation, after having sublimated the mind, ends itself. How does it mean? Now our attempts to sleep end when we start sleeping, isn't it? Our attempts to sleep, सोने का कोशिश खत्म हो जाता है जब हम लोग सो जाता है. The example given here is that the clearing nut plant, which is called kataka, the powder of which was used in ancient India for clearing muddy water during the rainy season when the wells or river water were all muddy. They used to put the powder of the kataka nut plant on the surface of the water in their buckets. The powder becomes slightly slimy and forms a continuous film. Being denser, then it settles down, carrying along with it all minute particles of dirt, held suspended in the water. In the process, not only the dirt goes down, but the agent we had used also settles down, leaving the clear water in the bucket, which can be decanted and used. So, in modern times, in our childhood also, when there was no aquaguard or such electrical water purifier, from the tube oil or sometimes the corporation water also was muddy, we used to use alum powder. We used to stir it, and the alum powder used to be precipitated along with the mud particle and dirt, and it used to settle down. Then we used to stain the clear water. We used to put chlorine, little bit of, as an antibacterial, an antifungus, and we used to drink. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji used that example of life in Vedanta. So here, the subject is jnanam. Okay. Jnanam swayam nasyat. Knowledge itself destroys. So vritti jnanam is required to remove ignorance. Vritti jnanam means knowledge in the form of thought. What is jiva? Jiva is nothing but ajnana kalusha, impure by ignorance. And it is the effect of ignorance. Jnanam in the form of thought along will remove this. So jiva means ajnanam in the form of jiva. The sense of jivahood is ajnanam. So the vrambhakara vritti, that thought, will remove my ignorance that I am that Brahman also. There is nothing else, only Brahman remains. Brahmavid, Brahma eva bhavati. The knower of Brahma becomes Brahma. Means I was, I am, and I will be. That understanding will come into our mind. When I say that I am Brahma, means what about the Lakshana, attributes of Brahman should be my attributes. It will help me in meditation. So what is creation? Creation means Brahman plus Maya. Maya means Trigunatmika and Brahmasraya. Maya is not independent. It is Brahmasraya. It is under the coverage, under the support of Brahman. Without Brahman, Maya has no existence, and it is endowed with three attributes, Sattva, Tama, Raja. Creation means Brahman plus Maya. I, the Atma, I am the material cause of creation. Like clay is the cause of pot, clay pot. So whenever the effect means clay pot goes away, destroys, the material cause also will go, but the efficient cause, the pot maker, may not go. Means wherever there is effect, I am present there. That should be our meditation. So in the whole universe, I am there. So whenever, whatever is the indicator of Atma or Brahman, that is my indicator, that is me. Means Brahman is all pervading, so I am. Brahman is unattached, asanga, so I am. Brahman is untouched, so I am. Brahman is not dual. Brahman is non-dual, so I am. So in previous slok, it was told that Brahman is Kevala. What is Kevala? Kevala means devoid of three distinctions. Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata Bheda Rahita. So thought of knowledge, Vritti Jnanam, in the form of I am Brahman, I am Brahman. In that way, the ignorance will go. So Jnanam is some doubts, some intellectual portion. Please have patience. Don't be impatient and don't be bored, please. Jnanam is the thought which has come to purify jiva, who is impure due to ignorance, that I am finite, and effect of ignorance, which is called ajnanam kalusham jiva. Why jnanam doesn't take place? Here we will discuss about four factors. First is ignorance, the ignorance of the self. Second one is doubts, a lot of doubts in our mind. When I go to acquire knowledge, the doubt comes that how this 5 feet 3 inches fat body can be unlimited Brahman, infinite Brahman, blissful Brahman, who is always depressed, ready to depress, carefully ready to depress. And I'm proud of getting depressed, that I am in that nature. how I will be ever blissful, how I will be ever doubtless, doubt-free. That is the doubt. Third one is erroneous notion, which is called viparjaya. In Sanskrit terminology, it is viparjaya. After jnana, after acquiring the knowledge, doubts goes off. But third problem retains, that I am a person, that erroneous notion, I am a jiva. I am the experiencer. That notion is remain. How will it go? For that, continuous spiritual practices are needed. So that is called jnanabhyasa. Ignorance and doubts and erroneous notions, that three are the ignorance alone. And through continuous practice of knowledge, only these will go. Because our desire, our anger, our greed, our doubts, our everything, our delusion, everything is the product of ignorance. So how one can do spiritual practice or jnanabhyasam, which is prescribed, that constant, continuous practice of knowledge and with full consciousness, 24/7. Even at the time of sleep also we should know that I am the experiencer of my sleep. When I am in pain, we should remember I am the experiencer of my pain. When I am in doubt, when I am depressed, we should know I am the witness of my depression. But how that thought will come? In the three ways. First one is Shravanam, repeated listening. Second one is Mananam, reflection of that mind, that knowledge in the mind and intellect repeatedly. And Nididhyasan, weighing up that knowledge. Some people say that it is meditation. But that meditation should be in the Vedantic way, with the Vedantic thought. Otherwise, meditation has no value in this case. Now, Sravanam or listening, repeated listening. What I will listen repeatedly? Vedanta Vakya. Only Vedanta, where the subject matter is only I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Or Jiva Brahma Aikya, the communion with the individual self and Brahman, Atma and Brahman. Sravanam or repeated listening doesn't mean repeated listening to any satsang, any holy discourses. No, Vedantic thought, Vedantic teachings. And Mananam, the reflection of that knowledge only, not other things. Dwell on the teaching of Vedanta to strengthen my understanding about Brahman. Okay. So if anyone wants to ship their house, they need a box and everything should be there and transferred. So when the transformation of mind means all knowledge will come and the extra thing should be removed, then only transformation or shifting is possible. And then third one is nididhyasana or weighing up of the teachings. What about the indicator of Brahman, that is me? That understanding, not anything else. I am a male or I am a female. Female has some different problem. Yes, that all such wrong notions should be falsified. Because all those problems are of the ego, not of the Atma. And I am Atma. I am Brahman. These three practices will be or should be supported by sadhana chatushtaya, fourfold factor. Can you remember Tattva Bodha? Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, and before that Viveka, Vairagya, and then Mumukshutvam. That should be there. Other than it is not possible. Here it is Nirmalam Kritva, having cleared this jiva, that sense that sthula, shukshma, karana, sharir plus atma is jiva. Jiva means sthula sharir, sukshma sharir, karana sharir plus atma. Jiva understand that I am all, jiva should understand. I am Brahman only. I am Atma only. Not the three bodies. And this is called Vinirmalam, purification of ignorance. And Jnanam Swayam Nashed. All thoughts come and go. So Brahmakara Vritti, the thought of Brahman also will come and go. All thoughts come, their locus is Antakaran. But when that Brahmakara Vritti comes and with the pure understanding, that Antakarana gets vanished. How? Through Tattva Viveka, with the discrimination of the Tattva. Atma Satyam, Tad Vetirikta, Sarvam Anityam. Means other than Brahman, everything is there. Everything is negative. I am that Brahman. When pot is there, pot thought is also there. Everything should go. Aham Brahmasmi thought comes when everything goes away automatically. Brahman Satyam, but I am Brahman, that thought is unreal. Brahman is real, but I am Brahman, that thought also unreal. Please remember. Because where that knowledge will take place, that I am Brahman, that Antakarana, that inner self is, inner instrument is also unreal. Why? That gross body is unreal, inside that subtle body is unreal, and the basis of that Antakarana, the inner instrument is mithya, unreal. So what about the thought comes, that also mithya, unreal. I am Brahman and I am doubtful, both can't coexist. So more meditation on this is required, that ahankar is also mithya. So when we tell about that jalam kataka renupa, so what is impure water? Impure water is nothing but the jiva, mind with wrong notion. What is pure water? That is Atma or Brahman. And the process by which that impurity goes, it is called jnana abhyasam. The repeated practice of knowledge in the form of sravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. Repeated listening to the Vedanta Vakya, reflection of that knowledge, and knowing of the knowledge. So 2 to 5 is a set. The sloka number 2 to 5 is a set. That set has been completed today. Hari Om Tat Sat.